All right. Here we are. This is the Footy Museum podcast. I'm Justin Whitty, and I am joined by Maria Van Dyken Lee. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Justin.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
My dog might chime in a little bit while
Oh,
we're recording, but
that's what we need.
he's
Just
very opinionated.
expert opinion, I think.
Uh-huh.
Um, First, we should probably explain what this podcast is. So, you and I are involved in a project we're trying to get off the ground. So, Maria and I work together in the museum industry. We put on exhibitions. We both happen to also be fans of football, soccer. And we're working on a project called the Footy Museum, which highlights the design and culture that surrounds the game throughout the world. Because anyone who follows soccer, you know that the design from an individual team's kit to their crest to fan created tifos and other elements is a huge part of the game. We want to highlight that and use it as a lens to talk about really the one game that is played throughout the world. So we've been developing the show, the exhibit, the Footy Museum, which is a traveling exhibition, and you can find out more about that at thefootymuseum.com. But we're also building up content around our website now as we're building out the museum and the exhibition. And so we thought, it might be fun to try one of these podcasts because there's a real dearth of soccer podcasts out there. Not a lot of people, not a lot of random people just talking about football. So we thought we would add to that noise. Is that about right?
Why not?
Is that how you?
Why
not? But we're going to do it in a little different way. We'll cover a lot of soccer. It's mostly be English Premier League and MLS, since that's where our two interests are. But also with a special eye towards kind of the visuals and the culture surrounding the games. Did I do that right, Maria? You want to add anything to that?
Yeah. I think it's safe to say I don't claim to be a soccer expert. Uh, but yeah, I think our special lens and our special interest is really the visual culture and the supporters and everything surrounding the game. So
absolutely,
I have a
and
lot
I
of
hate to break it
opinions
to you, but
that
most people hosting soccer podcasts are not soccer experts either. So we might fit.
I'm just going in with blind confidence and opinions. That's all I need.
So we're recording this on a Monday, so we just had a full weekend of soccer action, and I think we can call it football. That's fine, football action. So I'm wondering if there's anything from this past weekend that stood out to you from the games, and I'm thinking more from like a visual sense.
Okay, there's one thing I can't get over.
What's that?
Did you see anything from the PSG Saudi Arabia game?
Oh my God. Oh, okay, so for anyone listening who doesn't know what we're talking about, there was the most bizarre Classico type game. What did they call it?
I don't know what they called it.
It was like basically like the Saudi big money bring Messi to play to Ronaldo one more time extravaganza. So PSG,
that's exactly what it is.
PSG, which is owned by Qatar, actually, flew down to Saudi Arabia and played. They played an all-star team, right? It wasn't just Ronaldo. So it was an all-star team from the Saudi league.
Okay, so I did not actually watch this game besides some of the highlights, but what I can't get over is there's this very special placement of the Lay's logo on the Saudi Arabian jersey. Now, just tell me what you notice about the backs of these jerseys and the placement of this Lay's logo.
Is that real?
It's real.
Is that real? So, and it looks like in that picture that Messi's also asking, is that real?
Yeah.
So, there is, on the back of the Saudi All-Star team, underneath the numbers, there is a very large, a circular uh, Lay's, but it's the Frito Lay circle, very large, right between the tops of the two butt cheeks. Oh, here's a better view on Ronaldo. Yeah,
Oh,
and
right.
it's gigantic. So it looks like their numbers are on top of a big, like, kind of tennis ball. Oh, that is awful. Oh,
It's really
oh,
bad. It's really bad, and depending on how tall you are and where it hits on your body, it's really bad.
oh,
And it since it's on a blue kit, it just pops beautifully for Lay's, or
oh.
not so beautifully.
Is
I
it? Would
don't
you call
know.
that blue? I would say that's kind of like a. That's kind of like a like. Oh, it's an ugly kit. Was that made just for this game?
It was.
The collar and sleeves and kind of the side of this jersey looks like the carpet from a 1990s movie theater.
Yeah.
And then the oh my god. Oh, I hope
Yeah.
Ronaldo enjoys the bed he made for himself.
It's
Oh my god.
really, really,
This
really
was
bad.
this was billed as one of the only times the top 3 players in the world would meet, and I don't know. I'd say there was two of them there. Although it was my understanding that Ronaldo actually outscored Messi and Mbappe in
No,
this match. Is
is
that
that
correct?
true? I
I
think you
think
have
he
it the other
scored
way
twice. I think
around.
no, I think he scored twice, didn't he?
Hold on.
But excuse us if we weren't paying rapt attention to what is really just a terrifying glimpse into the future of global football.
Exactly.
Also, did you notice
Just
the
like
nets that they have?
the net.
The goal nets are not like they're not like a normal goal net. It's like a fine mesh. It almost looks like
Oh,
a pantyhose. Have you seen it?
oh, you're right. Ronaldo scores two, Messi one,
Yeah.
but
They
PSG
I
won.
think that PSG won the game, but
Yeah.
and wow, it's really like Messi winning 2 World Cups. I mean, that's just gotta be the feeling.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Um, I have a similar one thing I was going to mention. It's not mine, but a similar vein is that I can't get over the Newcastle green and white kits. Um, Again, a team owned by Saudi Arabia, and they have one version of their kits, and is it their green and white?
Oh yeah. No. Okay. What can't you get over about it?
Well, that's not anything to do with their team colors. It's just basically the Saudi national jersey,
Oh.
and it wasn't introduced until they bought the team, and it's just crazy to me that that's just like, yeah, that's fine. I mean, nowadays, I guess it doesn't really matter. You know, you can have like a bright neon pink
Hmm.
jersey, even if your colors are like brown. It just doesn't matter. But that one always stands out to me. Um,
Yeah. I didn't realize that this was the Saudi green, and I even commented to my husband Jeremy. I was like, "Oh, I like that green." Now I'm like, "Oh,
yeah,
Saudi
no, it is the.
Arabia."
But you know, the people in Newcastle don't. I can't blame them. They've been suffering for so long now. They're just awash with cash. They don't seem to mind being owned by the royal family, but it's a little bit in the face because there's also kind of like a little eagle on it,
Yeah.
and the crest. I don't know if that's the Saudi Royal Fund logo or what it is, um, but it's just bizarre. And I have a soft spot for Newcastle because Miggy Almiron is on the team, and he was the highest ever transfer from Major League Soccer, and
Mm.
Newcastle's highest ever inward transfer. Um, but and he's had a good year, but it's just bizarre. I mean, if you're listening, you don't know their normal colors are black and white stripes with like a blue accent, which you can see on their crest, the blue underneath. So the green just really doesn't have any relationship except for the sponsor. So that stood
Mm.
out to me for sure. Another thing I noticed was it was the Brentford kits. It was like a
Is that
background with
their
like a
away kit?
multicolored. And what I love is that they are sponsored by Hollywood Bets.
Yeah.
It's like
It also similarly has like that 90s theater vibe.
it does. What is that about?
It's coming back.
But it was never good on clothes. I mean, it is Umbro, so that makes a lot of sense. Um, so those are some of the things that stood out. But that was a good call on the game in Saudi Arabia. Um, speaking of, we were talking a little bit about the English Premier League, and one of my favorite things, with really one of the things that got me into pro soccer is the crest. I just love these intricate badges that teams around the world have, and they vary so much. And you have kind of ones that have existed for generations that have carried on some kind of quirky original design that was just sewn on some wool shirt in the 1800s, and it's carried through. I think of some of the wonkiness in the Manchester United crest, but then you have some like really interesting, in especially like Holland and Germany. There's much more kind of high design ones. Do you have a favorite crest in soccer, in football?
This is this is a tough one for me for many reasons. Um, yeah, I don't know if there's a harder question for me to answer in this world than do I have a favorite crest?
Really?
Cause yeah, cause okay, I feel like in at least in the top 20 teams right now, the Premier League, um, there's like four categories of crest. There's
Okay.
like the circle,
Right.
the shield,
Okay.
the crest.
So circle, you would have Brentford again. You'd have Manchester City. You have
You have Chelsea,
Leicester, Chelsea,
Brighton,
Brighton. I think that's it right now.
uh-huh.
And then the
And then
Shield, you'd have
shield, you have
Leeds.
Ast-
Well, now would you take Newcastle's as a Shield because there is a Shield within it, even
no,
though it's okay,
I would put that under
separate, just
crest
straight Shield.
because
Okay, so
it's got
Fulham, I would
flourishes.
say Everton counts as a Shield.
Yeah.
Villa, Arsenal, West Ham, and Bournemouth. Now, would Southampton's be a Shield? Would you count that, or is that too
No, I
much
would
on?
count
Okay,
that as a crest.
a
There's too
crest.
much going on.
Um,
And then there's like the wild card freeform ones like Forest and Tottenham and I mean Wolves is
and
a hexagon.
Wolverhampton. Yeah, that one is. I've kind of cared. It's actually the Premier League this year. There's a nice mix.
Yeah, it's pretty even.
Now,
So
go ahead.
so here's the thing. So like I'm partial to circles in design,
Okay.
but
Yes.
I think like when it comes to these crests or like the badges, it, it's like the more the better, but then also the more not the better. It's like a really delicate balance of like how can you have an effective logo that can be small or be repeated and
Yeah.
have it not be too much, but also be interesting enough and not like strip it away of everything
It has to
that
have some
holds identity
character,
wise.
right? It has to have some
Yeah,
character that kind of shows get a sense of the history of the club. Like if it looks too
exactly.
corporate, like all of the Major League Soccer crests are very, they're corporate made and they're all within the last 25 years and they have that kind of vibe to them. They adapt very
Uh-huh.
well to a lot of different products, but there's not that
Yeah.
kind of quirkiness that developed through what was once just a club team.
Yeah. Or like really, really, really passionate fans
Yeah.
that have a lot of opinions.
You know,
So yeah, I don't know if I can have a favorite. Like I support Leeds. I do not like their crest.
they have one of the
Um,
worst. That looks
it's
like
one of the
it
worst.
looks like your first Photoshop assignment in high school, and it oddly looks very
Exactly.
like policey. Not only the shield, but like the
Yeah.
star on top. It's like the and I like Leeds
That's
as
not a star.
well,
That's a
but so I'm looking at the expanded all English football, the top
Okay.
the pyramid. I'm looking at all of them.
You know what's interesting about the FA Cup? Because you're playing, all of these other teams come to the forefront more. You see these crests that aren't back, like they don't have this big franchise money, and so they're not updated as much, and
That's
they feel a
true.
lot more
They've lasted
classic.
longer. Sheffield Wednesday has one of my all-time favorite crests. It looks like a crisscrossed owl. Um, are you familiar with that one? So it's a blue shield. It's an owl, and the way they draw the wing, the wing looks like the body, and the little part of the
Yeah.
chest to me looks more like an arm crossing it. So he looks like crisscrossed on this branch. It's really lovely. I do love forests because it's so 70s, and it's kind of like this is the
Hmm.
last time we could afford to redo our
I like forests too. I think it strikes a good balance of quirky and like
Yeah,
the minimalist fits in currently, but it's not anything you'd think somebody would come up with. I mean, when was the last time they did a redesign?
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna. Let's see here.
Watch, it was
What's your
last year.
guess? What's your guess? What's your guess?
um, well, now it's not fair because I accidentally just read that it was accidentally.
Oh,
It
I'll
looks like they
guess then.
came up with the
I'll guess because I
okay.
don't know. I'm gonna. Well, they were last in the top division in the 90s, early 2000s. Right? Was the last time they were in the top, or was it earlier? I think that's about right.
I'm not sure.
I'm just gonna guess by the look that it was early 80s. So I'm gonna say like 82.
Okay. It looks like they first, and this is just based off of a random thing I found on Google. So
Okay,
who knows if this is true or
so it's
not.
totally true.
It's totally true. The kind of tree that we know now with the stuff underneath is 74.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Hmm. Yeah, and then before that, it looks like they had a like really ornate thing with elk and a crest and like a shield,
Hmm.
very detailed actually. In 58, and before that, uh, uh, a really interesting thing in 1946, which is some sort of man who looks like a pilgrim with a feather in his cap, and it's green, and it's kind of nifty.
Well, now I do say, looking at these, that it's interesting how each country overall, the teams, uh, crests have a similar vibe, and English
Mm.
overall, there's a lot of birds and detail and banners,
Hmm.
with the exception, you have Fulham, which is very stark, and I know we mentioned Wolves and Watford. I think those are both great diamond shaped ones. Wolves, it just looks like out of some dystopian 70s film as well.
It does.
The Liverpool crest is just too much. It's just too
Yeah,
much.
there's.
Everton can be happy that at least they have a good crest, even though that they will be in the
Oh.
championship next year. Hull City, I mean, come on. Like, if someone's going to beat the shit out of you, they're going to be wearing that Hull City badge. But I think that really, if you want to talk about best crests, to me, it's Serie A or La Liga. La Liga just has some crazy, crazy things going on.
Yeah,
Like, I don't, I mean, a giant bat.
yeah. I think they have a really great mix of like colors and shapes, and like they can keep it simple with the not overdoing it with gradients and color, but doing really interesting like shapes and line work, even for a flat image.
Yeah,
I think that's what makes it work.
absolutely. And that Valencia crest is so great because it's just like, if somehow you're not aware, it's a black bat that wings bend down to form the bottom of the shield, and then there's a horizontal blue line, and then red and yellow vertical lines with a soccer ball in the middle. It's just very bizarre. Um, And then Atletico Madrid's just looks like a paper cut, like a cut paper silhouette thing. I think it's a bear approaching a tree. It looks more like a Texas type emblem than you would think
It
out of
does.
Spain. Um,
It's like if Texas was in Canada.
yes, if Texas, if only. Oh, that touches on so many things. It's such a hopeful statement. You said, and then I would say, where'd my Serie A one? Hold on. I think there we have some of the highest design crests. So obviously Juventus's most recent crest very pared down. They've had a lot of history. I think there's a mixed. People have different views on it. I like it. Napoli is very simple. It looks like a button of some sort. Roma, you have the great fathers of Rome. Suckling from the wolf. It's just some really wild, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, in MLS, I think, LAFC has got a great crest, but they're all very new. You know what I mean? They're all very crisp. So it doesn't have the same feel. And I think as an American fan, one of the thing when you fall for, when you get involved in international soccer, there's kind of this mystery about these leagues and these other teams. Especially, I think, if you followed it for a while, now it's so accessible. But like when I first started following it was like you could only catch glimpses of games or at weird times, and you get a sense of the environment. And it seems so different from anything in American sports. So like, having kind of bizarre and unexpected crest just really added to that. So I think we're in agreement that the Chicago Fire have the best crest in the world.
Oh, absolutely. Sure. Yes. No bias at all.
Speaking of exotic, did you catch any of the NBC coverage of the Premier League from Orlando?
No, I only saw clips on Instagram. I didn't catch any of the live coverage on NBC.
Oh, I was wondering how you felt about it. I didn't like it. I don't like that. I don't like it. It's like, Florida's weird. It's already full of British people. Have you noticed that?
Okay, why don't you like it?
Well, they were in the theme park, so they were surrounded by total fake, theme park land. You could see like the hot dog and the burger stand. And the fans there were only ones who could afford to get in and happened to be on vacation at that time anyway.
So were you fine?
So
with
it just
the
felt
Philly
like
one?
Santa. It felt like Santa. Oh, I'm fine with the Philly one. I lived in Philly for a long time. I have a deep love for Philly. I think setting up in front of City Hall was pretty cool, and with the connections with a lot of U.S. players have gone abroad, like your favorite Aronson over at Leeds. Strong Philly connections. So I didn't mind that. But the Orlando, I don't know. I just maybe it goes back to that what I was saying with that mystique that the international leagues have when you're first discovering them, and then to see it all presented from like the heart of the most corporate America stage. Now, I understand a lot of Premier League teams and other leagues around the world are owned by huge American businessmen and conglomerates, but I still want to have some sort of mystery and belief that it's not the case. But you didn't see it.
Hold on to them.
That's all right. And Rebecca Lowe had a nice asymmetrical, very Florida dress on one of the days. It was interesting. All right, so that's it. These pods will only get better, people. They're only going to get better. We're just going to keep doing them, but it's a great way for us to keep talking. And if you are curious about the Footy Museum, which is a really exciting project, and you can find out more at thefootymuseum.com, or you can find us on Instagram at the Footy Museum. I believe all socials. Are we the Footy Museum on all social networks?
All socials. We're at the Footy Museum.
Yeah, we're doing great reels, great posts. So follow us, check us out. And if you can handle it, come back next week and we will be 5% better researched. Okay. Thanks so much. Thanks, Maria.